So I used to be, and you and I have talked about this, a black conservative, and I mean, I'm still black, but yeah, but he was, he and I used to argue a little bit on Facebook back in the day, but he liked me because I did have some of these conservative views, but I was very socially liberal. And I was a conservative for fiscal reasons. I was like, yeah, fiscal responsibility. We should be fiscally responsible, you know? So I was telling him the other day, he goes, well, what made you change? Because he came across my videos. He got off of Facebook. I think Facebook kicked him off because he used to say the worst things sometimes. So he got off of that, but he went on TikTok somehow trying to follow his kids, and he came across my videos. He's like, dude, I did a deep dive in your videos. He's like, you've gotten more liberal and stuff, you know? And I said, here's the deal. Here's what I've realized. The biggest thing about my conservatism is that I used to really believe in this whole, yeah, we should be saving money. We shouldn't be giving all this money to poor and lazy people, you know? Then I realized, first of all, that person doesn't exist, right? The person that the Republicans try to claim is like, there's this person who just sits in their basement all day and they play video games, and that's where your tax dollars are going. And there's not just one of them, there's millions of them, because there's so many. That's where all our tax dollars are going. What I realize is that, first of all, Democrats and Republicans spend. They both spend, right? But at least one is like trying to help the common man, like trying to like get people, you know, on their feet and all of that. And so that's where I was like, I'm not a conservative at all. Like the values that conservatives have, basically, they've kind of like taken ownership of things like morals, and like it was a dirty word to say you're a liberal or a progressive, because, oh, that means like you must believe in like, you know, just like, I don't know, prostitution in your home and stuff. Like, just, you know, like they've kind of like owned this whole like conservatism is morals and ethics and all that. Bullshit. You guys are, the difference between the two is like you guys are probably going to be kind of racist, and you're going to act like everybody who's getting any type of social service is just living off of the rich guy who's paying all these taxes and everything, which we know is not the truth. So yeah.
I like you said that, you know, the conservatives, that they're probably going to be racist. Brother, there's no probably about it. Okay,
yeah.
So let's get that clear right away.
I think some of the friends I have, I think, still believe, like the ones who are conservative, still believe in this fiscal conservatism. And I've had to I always have to tell them, like, you literally live in a neighborhood of a bunch of people, right? Are any of your neighbors just doing nothing all day and living off of welfare? Like, the fact that you believe this, I just, like, Fox News and these OAN and Newsmax, man, they are very good at getting, especially older white people. Like,
yeah.
Every friend that I have that's a young white person who's a liberal always says, man, my parents, I don't know what's, and I go, do they watch Fox News all day? Because all day long, it's like, Biden's a socialist. He's gonna take your money. He wants to open the border for this and that. Like, they get fed this stuff for so long, all day, every day, that it's got them crazy, man.
And it's been a long-term project they've been doing. I don't know if you remember, this would have been back in the early 2000s, I think, the knockout game.
Yes. Dude, I've done a video on that. Yes, go on. I did a video on that, dude. I don't want to cut you off, but I had
go for it.
A dude on Facebook posted this, right? And he's like, these black people are knocking. I said, dude, watch your video. It's the same loop of 2 times. And there are no black people. There are no black people out there saying we're walking around knocking white people out. You saw a video of an asshole doing some asshole stuff. And the same news stations played the same 2 videos and said, look at this. And you put that with also, like, you know, you would think black people just wake up in the morning, gather a bunch of people together, all run in Target together, steal a bunch of shit and run out. Like, it is, oh, dude. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, for those of you who don't remember it or didn't see it, somewhere in the early 2000s, I think it was before the Obama years, I think this happened, but Fox News would get this, I don't know, several month-long campaign about what amounted to like 6 or 7 instances across 50 states where, like, a black teenager would just punch an unsuspecting, like, 80-year-old white person in the back of the head or whatever, you know, and they made it seem like this was a nationwide epidemic. And, like, they spent hours of news coverage on this for the sole purpose of making old white people scared of black teenagers. And let's be real, they already were. So that's why the news programming worked. But yeah, and they've only gotten worse. I know I've seen you do a video on Charlie Kirk. I think you mentioned. Did you say not to talk about Charlie Kirk? I think I saw a video where you said something about that. Or maybe it wasn't you. It was someone else that said we shouldn't spend time talking about Charlie Kirk. But Charlie Kirk, I've noticed this over the years that he sees where the money is. Like Charlie Kirk's entire operation. It's funny that the point of Charlie Kirk's operation is to get young people to vote for Republicans. And in the 2022 elections, of course, young people, like 75% voted blue. But the state that did the worst with young people was Arizona, the state that he's based out of, which is really funny. So Charlie Kirk knows that he's not going to get the young vote, but he knows a lot of money can be raised by going after the racist vote. And he's gotten progressively more racist over time. And if you look back at his old videos, he will do stuff like say that, what everyone used to say about MLK. So listen, MLK's message was one of unity, and he's a shining example that we should emulate and honor in American heritage. He said that for years until maybe 2 or 3 years ago, where he started saying, I don't know. And now, like this year, he just came out with like a huge expose about this guy's a piece of garbage, socialist, we shouldn't follow him and stuff. And he did the thing where he was talking about they're going to start hiring random black people to fly your planes now. Like he's got, like he sees where the energy is for the conservative movement. And yeah, he's going to follow that. And that's why it actually gets more and more difficult for conservatives to say outrageous shit, because everything they say is outrageous these days.
Yeah. It's, going back to Charlie Kirk. So 2 years ago on MLK Day, I was retweeting conservatives tweeting MLK quotes and then tweeting videos or other tweets by them that were completely MLK would be against, right? I was like, you guys, come on, And so the YouTube group that I do some videos for, they said, hey, turn it into a video because that's pretty good. Like, you're actually pointing out exactly. And I said right then during that video, I said, we're about 1 or 2 MLK days away from conservatives completely turning against MLK. Because it's getting to a point now where it's like, you can't deny, like I did a video where I said, hey, if MLK wouldn't have been marching with Colin Kaepernick, tell me what date he would have said, hey, Colin, we're good, bro. Let's go home. Things are good now. Like, tell me when that would have happened, because they really were trying to claim Martin Luther King would never agree with BLM. What are you talking about? This is just the next step. But and I always ask them, my question is always, can you point to the date or the era where MLK would have said, my dream has been fulfilled, we no longer need to talk about this? It wouldn't have happened. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, it is funny looking back on that, because so when I was a kid, I went to a Christian school, and the Christian school that I went to in 6th grade didn't honor Martin Luther King Day. Even though it was a federal holiday, it was a private school that said, no, we're not going to celebrate it. And our parents said, no, you guys are not going to school. So we didn't go and everything. But that was rather commonplace in the South and the Midwest, at least, for private schools to not honor Martin Luther King Day. And pretty quickly, like over a 10-year period, conservatives pretended they always liked King. Because like even up until the 90s, they were saying, yeah, this guy was. I remember people telling me Martin Luther King was a communist and getting really offended. Like now I'm like, yeah, so what? But I saw that happen all the time. But somewhere between like the mid 90s until a couple of years ago, they've gone hardcore on King would have been one of us. King was a Republican, which by the way, he wasn't, folks. He never registered for the Republican Party. I want to make that very clear. And it's gotten to the point where you can't keep saying this. And not only can you not keep saying this is not true, but it's not working. It's kind of like when conservatives like to say that, well, Lincoln was a Republican, right? You know that. And they say it like they're the only ones who know it. That's what's so funny to me. They think they're dropping some huge bomb on you. Like, yeah, other people know history better than you do, I imagine. So you're not breaking any ground here. And they're like, oh, you guys are voting for the Democrat KKK party. It's like, buddy, this is how often does this work for you? Like this, you've been saying this now for 60, 70 years, and still like 90% of black people aren't with you. Trust me, you gotta change up your messages sometime, bro.
Well, and I get so tired of one of their arguments being, "Oh, you're voting for the party that started the KKK," and I'm like,
Democrats.
oh, gosh, I'm you guys realize those people were conservative and they still are today. And I always say, dude, who are white supremacists, the KKK and Nazis? Who are they supporting right now? Like, let's stop this. Like, this is such a bad. But I don't know if it's not working. It's not working to get black people over there, but it's definitely working to keep, a certain, because I think conservatives are starting to realize now, like they're starting to get to a point where I don't know if they care. Like Donald Trump goes to that black conservative, whatever foundation, whatever he went to. And it's so embarrassing that this guy gets to stand up here and say, yeah, the black people like me. They like me because I'm a criminal. Like,
I know, right? And it's I want to call a timeout on that one there. I've never seen the crowd from that video.
I did. It's not.
Okay.
Ron Filipkowski posted a video on Twitter, and no, you're right. Actually, there was two guys on stage that were black. The crowd was probably 20% black, 80% other. Yeah. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And so, but I don't, even if there's two, I don't like the fact that this guy is saying this. And now you got like, listen, I think you've said this too. If we decided to be black conservatives, I would be standing next to Donald Trump in 2 weeks because I'm smarter than these guys that he's got next to him. Like, come on, dude, Terrence Williams and those. Yeah, I would kill it as a black conservative. Like they would have me front and center, bro. I am way smarter than Tim Scott's freaking dumb.
Tim Scott is a senator. Like that is like. So I will say he was appointed senator, which is a cheat code to be appointed senator because then you have the incumbency but really, I mean, have you ever seen a less interesting person? I mean, it's just like you would think that. Well, once again, back to the aristocracy thing, where like standing on a crowd and motivate. He is awful. I mean, not just because of the black conservative thing, but just just the way. He speaks and like I don't know. It's just it's horrible to watch. But yeah,
it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, honestly. It's really embarrassing. You know what? Even actually, Byron Donalds.
I have him written down. I had him written down. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's a smart dude, and he scares me a little bit because I still have to believe these people are either playing a role or it's money to them because I just don't believe he can say the things he says and believes them, especially about Donald Trump. I don't know what his game is, but Byron Donald is not a dummy, and he's still like, I feel embarrassed when I see Tim Scott. I have secondhand embarrassment when he's standing up there and he's like, all right. If you're voting for Donald Trump, let me hear you scream. Like, there's nothing genuine about it. It's so fake. Like dude, like I've been criticized for being like, whitewashed, I guess, like my, and stuff like Tim Scott. Like I could deliver that better than Tim Scott by far. Like I'm actually at least in the community, Tim Scott has never been. And it's just embarrassing. Byron Donald, I don't know if I feel the same way about him. And I don't know, man. You said you had his name down. What's your thing on him? What do you think?
So Byron Donalds, I don't think there's a genuine bone in his body. I don't. He's so I saw him on Joy Reid's show last year, maybe the year before, and she was asking him about Social Security, and he came and he sat there and he said, yeah, I'm just saying that if we allowed people, instead of forcing them to pay into Social Security, and we allowed them to invest into the stock market, they get 10% interest on that over time, or they would gain 10% over time, and that's a better return than Social Security. So how can you do anything other than call Social Security theft? And then Joanne Reid said, okay, so are you proposing that we get rid of Social Security? No, not at all. And I say, what? And I had never wished I was on a TV show so much at that moment. It's like, so So you're just saying something that heavily implies a result, but you don't mean the result. Oh, that's fun. I can do that too. So what you're saying sounds like something that would be proposed by an individual who was trying to steal the money from Social Security and put it in the hands of investment bankers and hedge fund managers. I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but that's what it sounds like. So I don't want to. So yeah, I saw that shit, and I see him every once in a while. Like he's just like. There's a certain group, I guess, like this is where a lot of black Republicans fall in. It's like, because like there's a lot of genuine black Republicans. Like once again, I was one, and so were you, at a time, or black conservatives at least. And a lot of black people do have strong conservative values, and which is kind of, we've talked before that the Republicans were less racist. They get a ton of black votes, but I don't get that vibe from Byron Donalds. I don't, because he's there just grinning it up with Lauren Boebert and just smiling and everything. I was like, no, holding like rifles and shit. No, this guy, I don't believe he actually has like, I don't say too much, but he has some like a bunch of charges in the past or something. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I don't know what that was, but I guess that's that's pretty much an entry level necessity to be a Republican politician these days, that you need a bunch of charges and shit on you. But yeah, like the black conservative movement it's always been there. Like there's always back to Booker T. Washington, basically. You've always had, black people who's like, yeah, look, don't worry about the social struggles, whatever. Just, keep your nose down and stay hard at work and make the white folks proud of you. Those people will always exist, but it is embarrassing to see them, actually reach the heights of power. Like that's really disturbing.
Yeah. I feel like I do agree with you that there are a lot of black people like our families are very conservative.
Oh yeah.
Like the way we raise our kids, the way we are about our family and everything. And that, and I tell you, like that part scares me. I mean, right now I feel like, again, I talk to black people a lot. And so, the church and everything like that is what kind of caused black people to be like gay, anti-trans and stuff like that. And so I find myself having to defend some of that a lot to black people because that's where they're starting to kind of draw these lines. And I also think that Democrats are so bad at messaging and like even with like transgenders in sports and stuff like that, I feel like there's so many ways to like message that and fix the issues that people have issues with. But Democrats, I don't know, they're just so bad at like, I feel like there's like five issues where Democrats, like for the most part, are killing it, right? And instead of singing those praises and continually pushing that, we have these other things that I think they're bad at that they just keep on So I don't know. I feel like Democrats could win every election if they did some of the things that they do best more and do it better. But they keep on failing at, and I mean, I guess they're winning a lot, but not enough to the fact that so that's another thing that people don't understand, right? Like we vote for president, we forget to vote for the House and Senate. So like everyone, like it's funny to me that we even blame things on the president when like they sign the bills, they can have influence on what's being written, but if that House and that Senate, if there's no majority, just things aren't going to get done. I mean, that's why you have so much just stagnation in a lot of the bills and the things that you want to see getting done.